Hey there, guys. How's it going? Welcome to Breakfast All Day. How are you? I am Christy. That is Matt. That's Alonso. Finally, for us today, our last review is of Mass, which is the directorial debut of actor Fran Kranz. He wrote and directed this. Matt, what's it about?
Fran Kranz, who I think the only movie that I remember him from is Cabin in the Woods. He wrote and directed this movie, wrote one of the parts specifically for Birney, and the rest of the cast is Dowd, Jason Isaacs, Martha Plimpton. There's a couple other people, but these are the four main characters. The movie is about one couple, Jason Isaacs and Martha Plimpton, who have, through their lawyer, arranged a discussion,
face-to-face,
frank face-to-face with another married couple played by Birney and Dowd. And as we find out, it's because of a tragedy that happened in a connected tragedy involving a school and the worst case scenario. And this movie goes to a lot of emotional places. It sidesteps in a couple places, some of the rhetoric, like it acknowledges some of the rhetoric that comes up with this topic. I'm trying to not spoil what this is about. But this movie is terrific. And some of the conversations that they do have are really, really well done. And it is such a wonderful showcase of four actors who are just hitting it out of the park. And I thought everybody was terrific in this. This is yet another example of Dowd being just amazing. And as much as she gets this final moment that may be a little over the top as far as the script is concerned, she fucking delivers. Absolutely. Isaacs is great. Martha Plimpton is terrific. Birney is really good. He's one of those kind of standby, like, oh yeah, that guy. And he gets a chance to really shine in this. I was very impressed with this movie. What did you guys think?
Alonso?
I'm kind of two minds about it. I think there are things about it individually that work. I in my review, I think I said, like, I see a lot of audition monologues in this movie. Like, there are some great speeches that the actors get to give. The performances across the board, I think, are terrific. I want to mention Brita Wool as the church employee who's helping set up the room at the beginning. I think she's very funny, and it's not a movie that has a lot of laughs in it, but she sort of early on kind of punctures some of the tension, which I liked. And I love the sound design of this movie. The idea of like four people in a church basement, that's a very specific kind of echo and kind of throb. I also made the joke that room tone is a character in this movie. My problem with it is that I think Kranz is trying to throw his arms around a lot of stuff. And I think that you either have to like take on big topics and understand that they are too big to be resolved in this scenario, which is a basically real-time conversation between four people, or you need to like have enough setup so that you can have that resolution at the end. And he wants both of those things. And I think that undoes the movie for me. It makes this effort to be about messy, complicated, heart-wrenching, tragic stuff, but then it also wants to make you leave the theater with this sense of resolution that I don't think is earned. So I like the parts, but I don't like the whole.
I like the first half. I like parts too. There's a thing that happens about halfway through, because they're all sitting around this round table, right? You got the two couples kind of on one side of it and the two on the other. And it's intentionally very static, and no one is really moving. They're just sitting in their seats, and Kranz will do like a really, 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 really super slow push, from behind one couple. Like it's imperceptible, but it's increasing tension ever so slightly. And then finally, about halfway through, Jason Isaacs gets up and he walks over to this table on the side of the room that's been set up with like water and coffee and bagels. And, Brita Wool thought it'd be nice to have food for them, but clearly like no one's up for eating anything. And then once he gets up, the whole thing changes. And from that point on, the camera work is completely different. And the vibe is totally different. Like it's all this handheld, like low angle, like shaky cam kind of stuff, like intentionally kind of like moving handheld stuff to, I guess, add more tension, which felt to me distracting and redundant And it really shatters that bubble that they're in for so long. I guess he felt like he had to break it up. And eventually people do get up and sit in different chairs and sit in different parts of the room. And that to me was okay. But there's like a section where it's all shaky cam and it's so mannered, it draws so much attention to itself, the camera work and the editing in this portion of the film, that it takes away from some really excellent work by 4 actors who are very much up for the challenge of big chunks of monologue. I mean, you've got, people who have a lot of theater training behind them and a lot of television work behind them. I would say that Dowd and Martha Plimpton are excellent, and they get a whole lot more to work with than the 2 men here.
Yeah.
Reed Birney's character is comparatively quite underdeveloped, and I guess he's supposed to be like the stoic dad who doesn't really want to delve into real feelings, and he wants to just like brush it all away. And he's the one like wearing a suit, and
Right.
he looks very proper, and he has a plane to catch. And but the women, maybe as a mom myself, I connected more with them, but like the women, when they break through emotionally and find a way to really have a real discussion with each other as mothers, that to me was effective. But there's like a whole section with the camera work that I'm like, dude, Fran Kranz, you had a good thing going here. Like, just let your actors act.
Yeah, the trust the material and trust the audience. And I feel like at one point he sort of loses that ability to think that like, I'm not going to, this isn't going to land if I don't like play it up bigger, and like the audience isn't going to get it if I don't play up bigger. But yeah, I went in, super fan of Dowd, but I left thinking like Martha Plimpton. Martha fucking Plimpton is
So
like
good.
killing it in this movie.
Well, she gets more range, I think, to play with, right?
Maybe
She
so,
has a
yeah.
body journey to take from A to
Yeah.
B,
Yeah.
given where she is emotionally when she walks in that room and how she feels by the end. Ann Dowd's character already has inclinations toward being conciliatory.
Right.
And Martha Plimpton is like super shut off. And so where she ends up is really moving.
But we're right. And, the camera work, what you're talking about in the second half didn't bug me, because I felt like this movie does a thing where the beginning, they're until like halfway through the movie, their conversations are very superficial. And then you start to see the real emotion, and they really start to see each other. And even Birney and Isaac start to see each other. And that all worked for me. I found this to be really emotionally powerful. And as much as it may feel like it's going to be a slog to get through, it's not. I enjoyed this. I do think that towards the end, and specifically some of the stuff that Ann Dowd's character talks about at the very end, I felt like that's where I would have thought, trust your convictions, go back to where you were. But trying to put a bow on it, I think, is a little bit of a mistake. But, if nothing else, if you're a fan of any of these actors, they're just terrific.
There's also a thing where like every once in a while he'll cut away to the outside world, to a fence with a ribbon on it. Right. And like, you don't know what he's doing. And then like the last shot, you realize what it was. And I don't know that it was worth breaking up the tension, like the painful tension there, to cut away to that shot that's like, ooh, what's that shot? I'm not sure it was worth it.
And if you thought this movie was too cool to make its title into a double entendre, think again.
It does kind of hold our hands with some emotional religious stuff there. You could argue this is a faith-based movie. In that they make the argument that this is a place of healing.
Sure. Yeah, no. In a way, not in the thuddingly unartistic way that most faith-based movies tend to operate. But I don't know. I reviewed this at a Sundance, and I think given that it was there and who was in it, I really was expecting this to, I don't know. It felt a little pandery to me by the end of it, and that just bugged me, because they've got something good here, yeah. And I think that they could, if they had stayed truer to it, they could have maintained a strength to it. But again, you will come away with this with some scenes that you'll remember and some performances you'll remember, and I'm very curious to see what Mr. Kranz's second film will be.
I wonder why this is the story he wanted to tell. Of all, it's his first film, mm-hmm. right? You make your first film something, in theory, that that's personal. It's a story you've got to tell. I wonder why this in particular.
The story, I don't know. I think I think formally, if you're an actor who's directing for the first
Mhm.
time and you have a movie that is this reliant upon performance,
Mhm.
then that's at least a bit of a comfort level where you're not like, you don't have to deal with, exploding cars or crowd scenes or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, there's a particularly in low budget filmmaking, I think there's a tradition of like, how do I make the most of these limited resources? And, and I think when he's playing up the claustrophobia in the room, he's really doing that.
Mhm.
And when he isn't, it's not that that's inherently a bad thing, but I think it undoes what he's trying to do here.
Oh, I had a thought in my head. Now it's gone. Shoot. It's not a play. I was going to say, it feels like you're watching a play on film. It's not a play. He wrote, this is an original screenplay.
I bet you it becomes one.
It'd be easy to stage, right?
Kranz. So we interviewed, I got to interview this cast and Kranz, and he had said that he had worked with Reed Birney in theater production. So this does feel like an actor writing something with meaty parts that could be done on a stage.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so Mass is where? Is it streaming?
I think it's just in theaters.
Yeah,
y'all vamp for a second.
I'm seeing showtimes on IMDb. It says see showtimes and tickets. So I think it's just in theaters right now. So eventually, it might stream. It's also an hour and 50 minutes, and maybe could have been trimmed a bit there. So anyway, I'm saying 5.4.
It is exclusively in theaters. I said straight up 5. I'm, like I said, right in the middle on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm way ahead of this on you. I'm 8.5.
Okay. Well, 6.3 is our number. Mass.
Yes, it is currently in theaters and, heading into your home probably, within the next few months. Thanks for watching, you guys. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and do check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. A lot of fun stuff going on over there. We are currently taking votes from our subscribers about which horror film we'll be reviewing in October. Julia Ducournau's Raw is in the lead, but there's a lot of other fun options there. So go take a look and vote for your fave. Check out our TV recaps over there. We're getting into the season finale of Ted Lasso, where everything happened, and not to mention the morning show. And of course, you can see videos like this one and everything else that we do without commercials that you get on YouTube. So that's a plus as well. All of that's happening at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Have a great week, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.